Podcast where hosts appear and disappear and who knows who's here. But this is a very special episode because, as we announced last week, sitting in while Cody is on paternity leave, the highly debated paternity leave, Craig Collins has returned to reality's. It's like when The Rock comes back. Yeah, finally, Craig Collins is back on RMV.
Yeah, I'm thrilled. This is exciting. I have no idea what we're going to talk about. We didn't create a rundown or anything because I am missing Cody, I guess. But I'm ready to go, man. Let's do it.
No, that's not entirely true. I gave you a whole list of things that I wanted to talk about.
You did, and I sort of listened to those. So I think I'm ready.
All right. I'm going to keep prepping. That's what I do. I'm a prep monster. Everybody knows.
Yes, they do.
That's the word on me.
Actually, that's true. Actually, I'll say that that's actually like genuinely accurate. Working with a Noonan, you knew he was going to be there hours before some other hosts show up, and he was going to bring a crap ton of topics.
Right. 90% of which I will never use. And yet.
But we have them.
Right. I have them because I always thought to myself, if at some point I suffer a head injury or I panic or whatever, they tell me I have to stay on another 3 hours, I'm going to have enough stuff to talk about for 3 hours.
Actually, we were talking about that too via text, that I forgot the overnight show on that other station at one point was like a 6-hour thing that you were doing every night for a while, or every weekend for a while.
There were nights, normally it was about 5 hours. There were nights when it was 6 hours. And it was, it was a marathon. And that was with just news at the top and bottom of the hour. And then if we could cobble together some PSAs to give ourselves a break for a minute.
Oh, I remember that game too. That game was extra fun.
Is there anything we could do so I can stop talking for 3 minutes?
Please give us 2 to 3 minutes of a break.
Just something, anything.
Awesome.
We don't really have anything because, salespeople, and I love salespeople because, they're always out with the hustle. They don't try to hustle the overnight.
No,
because the overnight doesn't exist. People who listen overnight don't exist according to, ratings and stations. And I know there's less people.
Yeah, listeners say they do. Listeners are there.
Listeners say it. Yeah. But who, does the brass care about listeners?
I don't know. I don't know. Depends on the station.
Not normally. It's bottom line. It's all business. I am in front of a green screen for those watching. It won't matter to you if you're listening to this on and you've downloaded the podcast, but in case people are wondering, I am in front of a green screen because I am on the run. I am not, I'm no longer allowed to be in my home. And so I am in an undisclosed location, much like Craig, who is in a colorful bunker somewhere. We don't like to let people know where we're at.
No, I don't want anybody to find this place.
Right. So in honor of Craig, I am also in an undisclosed location.
That's kind of you.
Listen, I want you to
Some might think we're in the same undisclosed place. We are not. They are different places.
I hadn't thought of that. That would have been been clever. Hello, Cindy. Hello, Gene. Nice to see you. All right, let's start with this. Big news on the RMV front, because the reason Craig is here is because Cody is on paternity leave. And traditionally, men go on paternity leave. I don't know why they go on paternity leave, because they didn't have the baby. But that's neither here nor there. I have this argument. No. I'm all for them taking it if they get it.
Yeah.
I just don't quite understand it.
Right.
That doesn't mean I'm against it.
No, I wouldn't judge you for being against it. Bond with the baby time is what it is, right?
That's and I guess to help out the person who had the baby, because they're kind of beat up. The moms are, they just shot a baby out of their body. That can't be fun or easy.
No.
So I understand the concept. So anyway, Cody's on paternity leave, which means yes, his wife did in fact deliver a human baby. I think he told us what they were going to have. I don't think that's spilling the beans.
No, I think the sex of the child is public.
Okay, then they did have a little girl. They named it None of Your Business, because I'm not going to tell you. That's up to Cody.
Yes, right.
We haven't even said his son's name, and his son is 2.5. Nope.
That's true.
So they had a little girl. Everything is wonderful. I was right there when it happened because Cody, again, like at the first child, did not have coffee and tapped out. And so I took over. And it was awkward at first for his wife, as I was down there with a catcher's mitt and a snorkel. But it worked out fine. Everything is great.
I got to be honest. The catcher's mitt part of that joke is great, but the snorkel part of that joke makes it special.
That sets it apart. Any hack can do a catcher's mitt joke.
Everybody can, right?
Yeah,
but the imagery of why you need the snorkel It's just something else.
I don't know why. Maybe because I wanted clean
Who
air
knows?
from above the
Yeah.
table.
Right.
It was a
It's not
really
important.
long
Yeah.
snorkel.
I
So
want
only
just
got clean
one
air.
guy to show up to one berth wearing a snorkel and see how the doctors respond to that. Sir,
Yeah.
why is that on?
The doctors, having been in a delivery room once, doctors don't care. They're busy with other things. The
You can show up.
nurses pay attention.
Gotcha.
Like the nurse was worried that I was going to drop, and
Did you?
So no, I stayed. I stayed
Nice.
upright.
Nice.
Peeking over the curtain. But anyway, so Cody has a daughter and a son, and I did get pictures. I've talked about his son and my affinity for his son and how his son is fixated on trucks. Kid loves trucks.
Trucks are great.
Cody sends me a picture of his son putting trucks on the baby's little bouncy chair as like an offering.
Oh.
And I was like, that's a kid who knows branding.
Yes. Trucks are important.
His brand is trucks, and he was passing it on to his little sister.
Did you like anything like that when you were a little kid? Were you like a truck or a car guy?
I had a lot of Hot Wheels, so I guess I was a car guy.
Yeah. I loved cars as a kid. I wish I knew how to fix them now. You would have thought that I was definitely going to be fixing those.
Well, back in the day, remember, it was easier to fix a car. I mean, you still had to be skilled. Well, you still had to have a lot of skill, but you didn't need computer technology. You didn't need a computer degree to fix a car back then. I used to get my car started with a popsicle stick in the carburetor.
I had a car that could start with a popsicle stick as well.
Yes. See? Yeah. So in that way, like now, I couldn't go out. There's nowhere to put a popsicle stick in my engine.
Oh, I can still put one in my 96 Jeep. You can still put one anywhere.
Can you really?
Yeah.
My 2013 Hyundai does not have.
Look at you. Wow.
Yeah, I'm driving a 10-year-old car.
Wow, that's amazing. Your brand new car you got.
That's right. But yeah, I'm guessing there's still no, there's not a carburetor anymore. It's fuel injected, right?
Yeah. I have a fuel sending unit.
Okay. I don't know. Yeah, no. So did you ever do any of that stuff to a car? Did you like change the brakes or change the oil or?
Right now, we have decided that my 96 Jeep is too old to pay for any additional repairs by human beings that are not me. It's just too old for it. Outside of like, say, I try to brake and the brakes don't work, I will bring that into the shop. But I'm now done, and so I bought the big giant manual. And my wife loves this. I just like sit and read the manual, and then I go out to the car without the manual, and then I just look at the car, and then I go back inside and read more of the manual. And so eventually, I'm going to be fixing things. But I'm in like the guy who's looking in the ditch phase. I'm just looking at the ditch. No one's repairing it yet.
All right. Now, what do you think that you will be able to tackle something from that giant manual? If say,
I think so.
Spark plugs. You think you could do spark plugs?
I could do spark plugs. I feel like I could do those.
You got to get that special ratchet.
Yeah, I got to get special tools for a lot of the stuff. The thing I need to change right now feels like it's a little bit more difficult.
Transmission?
No. I was just going to rebuild the engine. I'm pretty excited about that.
I can't wait to come to your house and see the giant crane that lifts the engine out of the car. Your 18-story snap-on tool set.
I love the fact that you asked about how I'm going to prop the car up, because that is important. And it's my O2 sensors that I need to replace, and I got to get like a special tool to get them out. I bought something on Amazon that swears it's safe. Like Amazon says this is very safe. But when I got it, it's really just like a piece of plastic that you drive the car up, like a little plastic ramp. And I'm not sure it's safe, but I do use it. And I drive the car up on it, and I just leave it on the ramp, and then I get under the car and I look, and then I go back inside. I'm at the look phase, man. I want to see if I can identify the parts.
You trusted that plastic ramp?
Yeah. Yes, I did. It's on Amazon. It's got like 75 reviews and 4.5 stars.
Yes, but how many of those were from the guy that invented this ramp?
I don't know, but it was like $150 for a ramp that ramps like you just drive on it. So I feel good about it.
I wish we could hear from a professional mechanic on their take on this.
I do not want to hear from a professional mechanic. No.
Because I also don't want to hear the screams when your chest is crushed by your Honda.
Yeah, I would get. Well, it's not a Honda; it's a Jeep. But I would get squished, and that's fine. I don't know. But
So
I'm
does the
ready.
whole front end go? What stops it from rolling back?
Just the front end. Yeah, you got to put the
Prayers?
parking brake and stuff on. No, it's just all the stuff that you'd hope would stop it normally. I guess it's a 4-wheel drive vehicle, so I think it's locked in when I put the stuff on. I don't know. It doesn't move.
Goodness.
It stays, and I'm under it, and I look at it, and that's been good so far. So, most of the way there.
You.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Till a stiff breeze comes.
And then I'm screwed. Yeah. No, I love doing that as part of, like, I'm not going to be on vacation the next few days. I'm sure at some point I'll prop the car up and just look at it for a bit because I feel mechanical. I just don't do anything.
Now I have to ask because your driveway is pretty steep. Do you pull it all the way up to the back to the flat part, or are you the guy who's out on the street?
No, that would be cool. Maybe I do that during vacation. I'm in the garage. I drive it all the way into, like, be half inside the garage.
Oh man.
And then I'm in there.
Nobody will be able to hear you.
That's right. Yeah, no, I would just be gone. Oh, it would be hours before anybody found me.
Because your wife is probably like, thank God he's out in the garage.
Honestly, yeah,
with the car.
Go ahead again. Yeah.
I'll see you in a few hours, honey.
She does think I should take the manual to the garage, but she doesn't get it. I have a chair. It's like a reclining chair in our living room. So I sit in the chair and read the book, and then I go out to the car and look at the car. But I don't want to do them at the same time. They're different things. They're different steps.
But what if are you going to run back into the house each time you have a question?
No, I'm only going to repair the car when I can remember all the repair pieces without the book. When I'm off book is when I'm going to start repairing.
You realize there's people who train their whole lives for that and still look up in a manual.
I haven't actually fixed anything yet, so I'm all right, realizing that all the time. Yeah,
fair enough. I've changed spark plugs, but these are again on old cars.
Right.
Old cars.
Yeah, mine's old, so maybe that's why I feel like I could do it.
Well, that's you brought up a good point. There's a point where you stop putting money into a car.
And I made that mistake one too many times and way too much money. The last big repair, the last big repair on the 96 Jeep was way too much. And so, yeah, it had to be done at that point.
I think I remember that because you were debating getting rid of it.
Yeah.
Right?
I should have got rid of it, but I love it. So really, I don't know.
What attaches you that much? Because I've had numerous cars in my life. They all did a nice job. Some of them I liked more than others, I guess. But when it finally came time to let them go, I didn't have, an emotional attachment. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I want to make a joke where I hold up the wrong amount of fingers and say, like, it's just 2 reasons, but there are several reasons that I love the car. The first one is the type of car it is. A 96 Jeep with 4-wheel drive when it's snowing feels like a tank. Anyone that's driven that exact vehicle, I don't know if they make cars quite like that anymore. Like the power of it, the ability to get around, even with all the rust and brokenness of it, it still to me feels uniquely different than a car. And my wife has a newer vehicle, and it just doesn't feel the same. And then I guess just beyond that, the other thing that attaches me to it is we've been through a lot of things together, the car and I. I feel like at this point, we got to see it to the end. And actually, I was saying this on my radio show today.
Whose end? Your end or the car's end?
Well, I don't know. Whoever goes first. I
think the plastic ramp will decide who goes first.
I was saying it on the radio show today that I think it might be valuable when I'm sure it's dead to drive it as far as I can. Just like take it on the road trip and see when it's done. No highways. It would all be like off-road stuff. Okay. Not like truly off-road. And then just see how far I can go.
Then what are you going to do? Pop off the plates, pry out the serial number, and just leave it, or set it
torch
on fire?
It? Yeah, just light it on fire. Yeah, I don't know. Something. I don't know what I'd do. The point where I have to tow it all the way back home. I want to just drive, just me in the car into the sunset.
Yeah, do a Viking funeral. Just set it on fire somewhere, and then push it off a bridge.
Oh yeah. I'll try to drive it to one of the oceans so I can just drive it into the ocean. That would be great.
This is sounding very romantic.
It sounds amazing, and it's got so many holes in the bottom. It would sink fast. There would be no amount.
I had a car that had holes in the bottom, and I had pieces of plywood like under the pedals. So I had pieces of paneling under the pedals and under the and in the back seat. It was an old station wagon. My parents had bought it brand new. It was 88, I think. And after it was pretty much done, they're like, "Well, you can have it," with no regard for my safety. Yeah. It was fine. I'm like, "Okay, cool."
Okay, I like that you say that. Every car I've had has been a car like that for the most part. I think I've only bought one car in my own life that was really within a few years of 5, 6 years old, and I
Okay.
bought it from a friend. But every other car in my life has been a hand-me-down, no one else wants this vehicle situation, and I just like that. I like the oldness of the cars I've had, so I don't feel like I'll be happy whenever I move on to a regular vehicle like other people. This is the last old one, though.
I'm gonna say I think you will be.
I don't think
I've
so.
bought in my life. I bought 2 brand new cars.
Mhm.
Uh,
Brand new, brand new.
Brand new, brand spanking off the
Wow.
lot, new. The one I'm driving
Okay.
now, that's now 10 years old,
Uh-huh.
and I bought an '88 Cavalier,
All right.
brand new, stick
Yeah.
shift, the cheapest one you
Everything.
could get, but it was brand new.
Yeah.
And it was there's a feeling about, and I know all about the devaluate, blah, blah. It doesn't matter.
All
You
right.
pull out of somewhere with a new car, or even a car that's like a couple years old.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like,
Well,
this is
I
so
got
cool.
I got a family member that's leasing a car right now, and was trying to convince me how leasing is better than buying. And I don't know if I understood all that. And I guess there's some argument to it, depending
There's
on
people who, yeah.
depending on how much value. Like cars have seen an increase in value for used cars recently,
Yes.
so there's a chance it could be worth more than when you agree to it. And then I guess that's how you make money.
Right.
But he does love driving around in a practically new, like a 2022
Yeah.
car. And I get that, but he doesn't own it. It's not actually his. He's
Right.
making a payment on a thing he doesn't actually own. So
Well,
I don't
yeah.
know.
For most people
Yeah.
who buy a car, it's not yours for a while. Mine are not.
Right.
You know, if I still owe
true.
the bank now
That's-
after 10
that's
years, it'd
true.
be sad.
Yeah, my house isn't even
This
mine,
car
is it?
mine. Yeah, nothing's yours.
All right, good talk.
Nothing is really
It's been
ours.
fun. Well,
Hello,
I'm depressed now.
Dorothy, watching from Tennessee. Her
Woo!
son Steve was here last week, joining us, and then we've got
Nice.
Eric is in Maine, enjoying
Nice.
the program. So welcome
Wow.
to everybody. Yeah, it's very nice. Yeah, I love it. But that station wagon, it sounds like your Jeep. People would get in it and they were like, "How are you driving this? What's going
Yeah.
on?" But
Yeah.
I will say that station wagon, I had a lot of romantic entanglements in that car. It was roomy, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, that's
Roomy,
not
bench
right.
seat. You know
I
what
got
I
that.
mean?
I'm
Yeah.
following.
Yeah.
My car had an electrical issue that I couldn't figure out for a while. I don't know if I've talked about this before.
No.
So I eventually just started pulling out all of the different spark plugs until I got to whatever the one was, or the fuses, excuse me, the fuse
fuses?
box. Yeah, I pulled the fuses out and I figured out which one it was. Unfortunately, it powers most of the car. Like it
Oh.
doesn't power the movement of the vehicle or the lights. Those all still work, but pretty much everything else. So even though my radio would work if I put the fuse back in, I
Yeah.
have a little like Bluetooth speaker in the car. It's as bad. The air conditioning doesn't work. Like it's not in a great spot. But the car and I love each other. We're in this for the long haul, I think.
You
Yeah.
sound like my mom. The car loves
Yeah.
me. I
It
love the car.
does. That car would be heartbroken if I gave it up. I know it would. It would look at me so sad as I drove away from whatever place I was leaving it at. I can't do that to the vehicle.
You are sounding more like my mom every second. She drives well, she shouldn't be
Right.
driving anyway. I'm coming right
All
out
right.
and saying it. She shouldn't be driving.
Sure.
But she has an old Ford Escape.
Oh,
I don't know
nice.
how old, but it's real old.
Mhm,
To the
mhm.
point where she was still taking it to the dealer for like maintenance and stuff. And I'm like, what are you doing? The car's
That's
leaking.
awesome.
The car's leaking like a sieve.
Yeah.
So finally she started going, there's certain, when you get a car of a certain age, and you probably have a guy like that, or you did before you became,
The guy.
before you became your own mechanic.
Yeah.
There's mechanics that you trust that deal with old cars that know, all right, this is an okay repair to do money wise.
Yeah.
This is a waste of time.
Yeah. Well, actually, I don't want to out where it was. It's not my mechanic now, but one of the places I was living in recently had a mechanic who was even better than that. He would say, this is a repair we can do the right way or the cheap way. And I was like, well, how risky is the cheap way? It's like the cheap way is not that risky, but it's
Not that
riskier than the right way. I don't know if you're okay with it. I'm like, what would you do if it was your car? He's I go the cheap way. And so he kept fixing my car. And I don't know which things are the cheap way, but some of it in there is not the right way.
Well, my mom had dropped her car off last Tuesday, and I went out to her house, and so they call, it's car's ready. Okay. I drive her over to get the car. My aunt had dropped her off, but I go in with her, and the guy sees me and I used to, when I lived out there, I used to take my car to this place. It was a different owner, but same garage.
Nice. Yeah.
And I walked in and I'm like, how's it going? He goes, listen, this thing's leaking in a lot of spots. She's only driven it 47 miles since she brought it in last time. I'm not chasing money on this car. He goes, I looked at some stuff.
Yeah.
I cleaned off the oil on the bottom.
Yeah,
but
it'll be fine. Yeah.
He goes, I think he charged like $18.
That's awesome. That's
like
awesome.
something ridiculous. He goes,
right.
I can't try to make money on this car. There's
right. Yeah, it just feels wrong. Good.
Yeah. So, and then she drove it, put it back in the garage, and hopefully she doesn't drive it anymore.
Well, good. I'm glad that she understands what I'm going through. So I have sentimental attachment.
You two should maybe you two should do a podcast.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do
about how you put human feelings on mechanical objects. That might be fun.
My wife calls my car Grandpa. I think she started it.
Okay.
And Grandpa has typical ailments, I guess, of someone who's aging. Every single one of his ailments is defined as like a real medical condition. He forgets how much gas is in it. So we say that's like early onset Alzheimer's that Grandpa has. There's a bunch of things that are struggling. He shakes sometimes. It's called a death wobble. So I guess that's a little bit of, the way it's just a wobbly thing. So I think that's why we talk about my car as if it's a human. So,
well, I'm teasing you, but I have driven every car I had into the ground. My Cavalier that I told you about, my Cavalier had 250,000 miles on the original transmission when I finally couldn't drive it anymore. I had gone to the junkyard and bought a new seat to replace the driver's seat.
Yes.
I had the station wagon that had no floors, and I drove it until, one night I'm driving, all the lights go out and the horn starts blowing. I was driving from my parents' house up to the northwest side to see my girlfriend. I'm in the middle of 294 with no lights and my horn blowing.
I haven't had that yet. I can't wait for that moment.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one.
That's a good one.
Be a fun one.
Well, my favorite one, by the way, I'll go ahead.
Yes, no, go ahead.
Well, my favorite one is everybody that's had an old car tells me about that story where their brakes stopped working mid-drive. And I love when people describe that to me because that sounds terrifying. And every person who's been in a situation like that, and I've had multiple people tell me they have, is like, you don't know how or when you're going to stop this vehicle. You're just hoping it coasts to an inevitable stop when you need it to. And like that would be bad. But everybody tells me with a smile on their face, like, time that my brakes just stopped working.
Those are the people that survived. You're not talking the ones where it didn't go well.
That's a good point.
I never had the brakes go out. I had things just stop.
What if I get
I've had the car just stop?
What if I get like an old boat anchor and leave it in the back of the car just in case? Like if the brakes do stop, I just throw it out the window.
Listen, you're big on manuals. Maybe you can figure out a parachute. One of those drag racers. And it just comes out like you're the snake per dome.
Right.
And
how cool would that be if I had a parachute on the back of my 96 Jeep Cherokee?
I would love to see it have to be done at every stoplight. So then you got to get out, you got to repack. As soon as you stop, you got to repack quick.
I got to contemplate if I'm going to stop at lights or just blow through them. I don't want to pack this parachute again, guys.
Exactly. If you're in a school zone, you just leave it out because it creates drag and you can't go over 20. Ken sends a message when we were driving an old work van. All of a sudden, the hood flew up far back enough it smacked and cracked the whole windshield.
My tailpipe fell off. That's something that happened about a year ago. I was just driving the car on the highway with Betty behind me, and I just heard clink, 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 clink. And as I looked back in the rear view, I saw Betty swerve, and so the tailpipe was just gone. So,
how awful would you have felt if your car final destination's your wife?
Right. Well, no, and if it had damaged our way better car, it would have felt horrible. She's got.
Yeah, but if that pipe had gone through the windshield and just impaled her on her leather upholstery.
Yeah, see that feels like that wasn't what was going to happen. It was bouncing low. Yeah, I don't know.
We had I was a kid. I'm in the car with my mom, and you know those the caps that people put on their pickup trucks on the back, the fiberglass caps. I guess somebody had just decided to duct tape theirs on because it flew off and it bounced right into the front end and then up to the windshield. We were like, and this was before kids wore seatbelts. We had metal dashboards and no seatbelts. So
yeah, so things were terrifying then.
It was all a thrill ride. My entire childhood was like, Space Mountain.
Do you think that we're missing that? Do you think kids should be more afraid for their lives occasionally? Like not all the time.
Kids are never afraid for their lives.
They're not afraid of anything. I watch, I'm not trying to overly rant or turn this into anything else, but I watch kids in grocery stores scream at their parents, their young parents around my age, Well, maybe that's not young anymore. Younger than me. I watched them like yell at them, and I'm like, what? How is this happening? How are we getting to a point where the kid is afraid of nothing? Like, I feel like if I walked up to the situation, the kid would tell me to leave them alone, not the adult. The kid would be like, excuse me, sir, we're handling this between us.
Yeah, this is our business. Why don't you go pound sand, old man?
Please, you.
No, we talk about that at school all the time because kids really are not afraid
of anything.
And I'll tell you what, Craig, there's no consequences anymore. Nobody has a consequence. Kids get to do whatever the hell they want.
They do whatever they want.
Whatever they want. It's nuts.
I know.
Right, so you got to get a new car. Are you going to park one outside the house with a big bow on top of it? Is Betty getting you one for Christmas?
Oh man, if she got me one for Christmas, mixed emotions. But I don't think she'll be getting me one. Maybe we just put the big giant ribbon on my car, my current vehicle.
I joked with Debbie that I'm going to get one of those giant bows and just put it on a matchbox out front. Leave a little key ring, wrap up a little key ring. She'll get all excited, and then she'll go out front, and there'll be like the Red Baron on the sidewalk with a bow on it.
At least do like a Power Wheel, man. Like, don't go full toy car.
What's a Power Wheel?
You don't know what a Power Wheel is?
No.
Pow, pow, Power Wheel. You don't know what that is?
You can sing it all you want. It's not gonna. I'm not suddenly gonna go.
It's the car that the kid drove, like little kids. It's the little battery powered.
Big wheel, you mean?
The Power Wheel. It's called a Power Wheel.
Right, I'm looking it up. Relax. Don't get mad at me. Oh, it's like a what do you call it? Battery operated car.
Fisher Price Power. Do you need me to play you the theme song? I'm gonna find a commercial for the Power Wheels.
I'm looking.
How do you not know? Was this not a thing here?
It wasn't a thing when I was a kid. I'm old. We were lucky that the family had a real car.
You had a child at some point.
She never had a Power Wheel.
Why not?
Because we're horrible parents. It's been talked about in Molly's therapy session for years.
Okay, good. Are you
now, my grandma, my mom did buy some of those for my nieces. I remember because now my brother is strapped with like 3 of these Power Wheels in his garage.
He doesn't know what to do with them.
No, because the kid, the kids will drive them in the spring, but they're convertibles. It's not a winter vehicle.
I know I can't do the video, but I can do the audio at least.
There's nothing like a Jeep. Tough and rugged, wide and mean. A hill-climbing, load-toting driving machine. And here's the latest Jeep to hit the scene. The newest member of the Power Wheels team.
The Power Wheels team.
Power Wheels, Power Wheels, Power Wheels, Power makes it go.
Power Wheels.
Are we gonna get copyrighted for that, by the way?
I don't know. We might.
Okay.
All right. We're gonna find out when I try to publish.
That's from my childhood. Pow, pow, Power Wheels.
Power Wheels.
Yeah, I had like a third hand Power, just like my real cars in my life. My Power Wheel was passed down a couple times.
See, it makes much more sense to me to pass down a Power Wheel because that's I'm looking. Some of these are up to $1,000.
Power Wheels.
Yeah, the 2-seater, 24-volt, 4x4 electric ride-on Jeep style.
I remember the time when a Power Wheel was nowhere near that expensive.
Target, you get a Mercedes-Benz one for $229.
They got a Huffy electric ride Ford F-150 for $191.
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah, you got to look for the sales. Best Choice Products ride-on truck car, just some off-brand on Amazon for $199.
I can't believe this is 80s, 90s. That was a popular commercial. Can't believe you've never even heard of it.
No, I did that. I wasn't paying attention back then. Thankfully, Molly didn't want a Power Wheel.
Well, she was wrong. She would have loved one.
She may have. She did have a battery operated scooter, like a Vespa.
She's young. She's younger than I am.
Yeah,
I'm
she's
old
much
now.
younger than you are.
I don't like feeling old. That's a new thing. I feel all
you're
the time.
with me today, so now you can feel younger for a little while.
That doesn't work the same as it used to.
No.
When you pay, I think like once
because now you have a mortgage and you're debating buying a new car and you have a job.
Right.
You're old. You're an old man.
Now, and when like references that you make, when people look at you like, I've never even heard of that before, and it's both directions. You do it to me, and then young kids do it to me. It's just not. It's not as fun as it used to be. You know?
Yeah.
And I see the smile of the younger person when they feel like it's being pointed out that they're young. They're always happy about it. No one's sad that they don't know that thing because they're younger than you.
Right.
And I get mad at that happiness. It infuriates me now, which that actually makes me feel old too.
Listen, you get to a point where it just doesn't matter anymore.
All right.
All right. Hey, look what I learned today. I learned about Power Wheels. I'm all giddy with my new knowledge. I can't believe it.
You're welcome.
But thank you. But to your point about having a third hand Power Wheel, those you can only ride them for a certain amount of time.
Oh yeah, the battery barely worked.
Right, but then you outgrow them. So what are you going to do?
That's
You
true.
drive it off you know what you should do? You should tow it with your Jeep and send both of them off the cliff.
I should. You're right. I should put it like on the top of the Jeep or something,
Yep.
and then just drive them both. That
What is
sounds
that guy
great.
doing? Why is he driving a beat up Jeep with a pink Jeep on top of the Jeep?
Hold on. I have a topic. Do you want to do another topic? I have one
Go
about
ahead.
what's that
Go
guy
to your
doing.
topic.
All right, I feel like it's in that same vein. So I've been reading a lot of stuff about working out. My wife has been asking me to go to the gym with her recently. It's that time of year. We go to the gym. We'll probably stop going sometime in January, I
Makes
think.
sense.
But like, right? Yeah, okay. And so I've been reading how to like do the most effective workouts. And everything I find says do stuff backwards. There's even an article out today about walking backwards and how great that is for your physical and mental health if that's the way you did it. I just couldn't imagine seeing someone like walk backward through my neighborhood. But like I go to the gym and instead of doing like a bench or an arm curl this way, I do backwards. Everything is backwards. And it does make you feel tired and you do less total weight. And I don't know, they're saying that there's benefit to it. They are telling me, so I'm doing it.
But wait,
Everything.
if you're
I do the
doing
bench
a
press
curl
backwards. I do all of it backwards.
Yeah, but it's the same motion.
No, but you don't. So if you did it the normal way, you let it down pretty quickly. I let it down very slowly, and then I try to pick it up very quickly, and then let it down very slowly again. I'm focusing on the opposite direction of every single thing I've ever done in my entire life in the gym.
All right, I'm going to give you that for weights, it makes sense.
Okay.
I don't know where people walk that they don't have to see the cracks and bumps in the sidewalks. I don't know what kind of smooth surface that maybe in Peoria, all the sidewalks are perfectly level.
So the experts are saying that one of the benefits of walking backwards is that it helps strengthen your mind and your coordination by having to pay attention to those kind of things in a different way. You can't just
How do you
walk.
see them?
I guess you do this. Are you doing this the whole time? I don't know. You're doing something.
Listen, I'm going to be sexist here for a minute and hack. But if you can't turn your neck to see the toilet seat up, how are you going to turn your neck to see a crack in the sidewalk? Cancel me.
I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer.
Of course, because there is no answer.
Right. Yeah. Right.
The weights, I've heard that where you go down slow and you come up. I've heard of that. That makes
Everybody
sense.
looks at me like I'm crazy. Like to connect the dots to the thing you were saying a second ago. When I go to the gym and do all my workouts backwards, as a guy that's not in amazing shape, people look at me like I'm confused. Like everyone looks at me like I don't know how to be in the gym. And I was just thinking about it. There's like a little track somewhere near my house too. What if I just walked it backwards? Like how would people react to that? Yeah.
It depends. Are you wearing your clothes backwards like crisscross?
There's
a reference for all the old kids.
I got the crisscross.
Young and old, the crisscross reference. Yeah, I know you did. That's why I laid it down. So
hey,
you pick it up.
Good job. Yeah. Yeah.
There's
a lot
that would be
out
hilarious.
There, mm-hmm.
All right. So are you going to try the walking backwards?
I've tried everything else.
Has anybody has like a trainer approach you thinking that they're going to make a fortune because you don't know what you're doing in the gym?
No, I go to the Planet Fitness, so we barely have what I think constitutes as trainers there. But no, I feel like if I was any other gym, yeah, sure. Someone would walk up and be like, man, oh man, you need help.
See, I keep getting emails now because once COVID hit, I canceled my gym membership. Gotcha. And now I'm getting all the emails begging me to come back. And
Are you going to?
I don't know. The gym was so disgusting. It was like I was working out in a prison yard.
It's a weird experience, the gym in general, because you always have the people, no matter when you go. I can't find the sweet spot time to go where there's not at least one absolutely jacked person. No, I don't mean just crowd. Like there's a lot of crowds now, but there's always one ridiculously jacked individual there. And it just defeats me the entire time. Because like I'll watch that dude, or sometimes it's even a woman who's, just like crushing it. But I watch them like lift 7,000 more pounds than I can lift. And then I just feel, immediately emasculated and I should leave.
No, but here's what you need to know. They have never left that gym. They don't know what it's like outside in the world. They've never been to the grocery store.
No,
they don't drive a car. They stay at the gym. That's what all they do. And they look in the mirror and they get swole, and that's beautiful.
There was a ridiculously
and they
ripped
use
couple.
All the free weights. They have all the free weights by them.
There was a ridiculously ripped couple last night that we were there just talking to each other. And I think they were speaking in Spanish. I didn't get close enough to really eavesdrop because that would have felt creepy.
You were afraid of them.
Well, a little bit. But they were like both in incredible shape. And I was just thinking to myself, like, did they meet at the gym? Did they just tell each other we're going to work out together? Like, how did this go? to find. They were the two most fit people in the gym, and they were together.
Why haven't you had them on the program?
I don't know. I should have them on. Oh, and actually, can I ask you one other thing about gyms?
We're talking about that. You want,
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
We're here for a little time.
I intend to ask permission for everything that I do throughout the remainder of the evening.
But go ahead.
Good. So there was a woman, also a very in shape lady, who
Can I sidebar?
Yeah.
I love those musculars. I know some people don't like big ripped women. I love them.
Yeah. Well, no. This woman was not ripped. Like this one was. Fit. She's very. I would say she's very attractive. However, I pretended to not notice her at all because the way the gym works is all the running machines, all the treadmills, and everything else, ellipticals and whatnot. They're off to my left, and Betty uses them. So she makes consistent eye contact with me the entire time I'm working at the machines in front of her. So I have if anyone remotely attractive walks by, I immediately do I just saw a fly over my head because I don't want to get caught. And not that it's I don't think she'd care that much, but I don't know. I'm just aware that the missus is making direct eye contact.
Well, somehow you saw this woman.
Well, so here's what happened.
You going peripheral?
Well, so I'm doing a pull down machine, and she sits down at one of the bench presses, and she puts weights on the barbell, and I think she's just gonna bench, I guess. And then she does not do that, and so I'm very confused at the thing she did. She pushed the bench over to the side, got down on the side of it, put the barbell with weights on her hips, and just thrust it up into the air.
Yeah. Working the glutes.
Well, yeah, but I've seen somebody do a variation of that, I guess, before, but this one had the barbell and everything. Yeah. And it was, I don't know what I'm supposed to think at that moment.
You know what you're supposed to think. You just don't want to think it. You don't want to admit that you're thinking it.
I got to be honest, man. Is that a valuable workout? Is she really getting an exercise she can't do on some other machine a different way instead of thrusting the sky around a collection of dudes?
I have seen that exercise numerous times, so I believe it is legit. It wasn't her going, look it. There's a little camel for you. Come on. Here's a little something for you. That's not what she's. That's a legit exercise.
How can there not be another way to do that other than that way?
I don't think you can work your hip. I'm thrusting my butt right now. You can't see it, but I am. I don't think you can do that.
There's a machine. There's a machine where you do the.
Yeah, but then she'd be all strapped in, and it'd be a whole other thing that you were thinking about, getting her all tied up and butt thrusting.
I also was kind of thinking about the confidence of a said young lady to be at a gym around a bunch of dudes and just right in the middle of all the dudes doing that specific exercise. That there's a certain level of confidence. I would assume that is important there.
And I agree with you. And I also think it's a level of, hey, screw you. I'm here to work out. I don't care what you think.
Right. No, again, I just feel like there's got to be a less attention grabbing way to work those same muscles.
I hope not. I pray to God that the big hip thrust is the only way.
Yeah. And as I'm pulling down my machine, and every time she's doing it, and I'm thinking about Betty being right to my left, I was everywhere, man.
That's not. No, you're not focusing. What you got to do is get that 1,000-yard stare, even though you're staring at her, and make it. It looks kind of like you're staring, but then anybody who looks at you go, "That guy's just intensely working out. He's not paying attention.
He's not looking at anything specific."
He's not looking at that woman throwing her pelvis in the sky. That's not what he's up to at all. He's doing some lat pulls. Right.
Do we know what that's called? That exercise? Does it have a name? The hip thrust.
I have a lot of names for it, but I don't. Let's see. Hold on. I'm gonna look it up. But yes, I've seen it because I see. I see on Instagram. There's some. Fitness people that are. Now here it is. Best exercise for the glutes. First thing, it's a video of a woman doing the exact same thing you're talking about.
Yeah, the barbell hip thrust. I found another video too. Yeah. Is it a blonde woman with a little bit of an interesting face? She's making.
Yeah, it looks like she's got a mat over her lap that the barbell's sitting on.
All right. Yeah. Now it looks like in the screen or the thumbnail that I have that she's surprised by something. I don't know what she's surprised by.
She's surprised you're staring at her. That's what it is. Now, according to dabsfitness.com, the hip thrust is more effective for specific glute activation than a squat.
All right.
So that's why I think some people, some of the ladies and some of the guys with sweet backyards do this exercise instead.
I had an inkling that it was about getting your buttocks in shape. That's what I thought.
Well, come on. Everybody wants a badonkadonk. Everybody wants their backyard.
I'm not interested. I'm okay. Yeah, no, I wouldn't.
Yeah, but you like to, you like to see a nice backyard.
Sure. Yeah, it's fine. I love my backyard.
Well-tended to backyard.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So to answer your question, it's perfectly normal for her to be doing that. And I think perfectly normal for you to be fixated on it.
At least notice it. Like, how do you not notice it? I mean,
that's the thing. You can't not notice. Everybody there is wearing, shorts or workout. They're not wearing a parka and snow pants.
No.
And even if you're just walking by, you see somebody doing something.
Yeah. Is that wrong in our society to glance at someone who has clothing on at the gym that's so tight you feel like they had to struggle to get into it?
I think it'd be weird if you were staring, but I think if you just, a quick glance over, that's fine.
Right.
Yeah, you can't look. You look like you're blind. You look like you're doing a Stevie Wonder impression.
I did that. Absolutely.
Nobody wants to see you having an epileptic seizure while you're on the bench press.
I love that. It does look like I'm starting to play a pretty good moment in a Stevie Wonder song, and just I'm gone.
Yeah, you gotta.
I wonder if that makes me more noticeable to the young lady. If they're like, man, this guy's trying so hard not to stare at me. Look at what this moron's doing.
That's even creepier than just taking a quick peek. Yeah. I'm not looking at you, but I know that your hips are flying in the sky, and I want to be in there. Yum, yum, yum. No, that's that
would be creepier. Singing that song while I did it, that would be wrong.
That's why I have headphones.
Yeah,
it's just playing It's just playing.
Yeah. All right, that's been good. Those are some of the topics I had. I don't know what you got.
Listen, I loved it.
Okay, good.
I love that you're afraid. Maybe go to the gym when your wife's not there.
No, I can't do that.
All right, then good. She keeps you from ogling all the old ladies. Maybe the old ladies, they'd love it. They'd love it if you took a peek at them.
You know what? You know what's funny about that? That's absolutely true. And that makes me feel young. By the way, there was a very in shape woman who definitely was not in my age bracket, and I glanced at her, and I immediately saw her smile and look back at it was immediate. The reaction of it. And I didn't even totally do it entirely on purpose. It was a little bit of a thing. And I took a moment. This happened a couple weeks ago, and I'm not sure if Betty's watching this. I deny this didn't happen.
That's what you said, Betty, to the juice bar, wasn't it? Go get us a whip.
Yeah, Planet Fitness has a juice bar. Yeah, absolutely. You've never been to that gym, I don't think.
Never been to a Planet Fitness.
Okay, yeah, they have nothing. They're the Spirit Airlines of gyms. Okay. That's what they are. But no, she was the first and probably only person that seemed really genuinely happy that a man made eye contact with her at the gym in the world we live in right now, and seemed like she would have been totally fine if I just sat there staring at her, which I didn't do.
Well, there is a huge difference between glancing and making eye contact and a creepy stare. I think think you get up to 2 seconds of a glance, and that's just, oh, okay.
Right.
If you're sitting there going, and then if you start doing a hip thrust, even though you're on a different machine,
I think that right. I think that this one woman that I saw though would have been totally fine with any variation of that. I think I could have just sat there staring at her.
She may have been a single lady on the prowl,
maybe
keeping it tight for a young gym rat like you.
I actually even saw this. This was not me. I was not involved in this situation. So, Betty, this is fine. You can tune in again. I even saw a guy. I was driving to work. This is in the summer. And I saw a guy do the double take, where he looks back at a woman. And both people were 70s. Both of them were in their 70s.
Oh, really?
Yeah, both of them. And the woman, looked back at him as he was doing it. And I'm all seeing it at a stoplight. And then as I start to go, both of them seemed thrilled. The whole situation seemed to be going great for all involved. And so I wonder what that exact age is where you can ogle again. Because you can't ogle for a long time. And then all of a sudden, anybody can ogle again, I guess.
I think retirement age, and then if you're a widow or widower, and you're just out there, and that's what you hear about, the villages in Florida and retirement communities. There's a lot of boots getting knocked.
Yes, it gets crazy. Yeah,
I think that's a time because maybe it's because you're looking at it going, I don't have that much time, and I'm
I don't care anymore.
Naked. Yeah.
Well, and it's actually a courthouse that's downtown where I was. And so the woman was dressed to the nines to go to the courthouse. And
Oh,
the guy
yeah.
acknowledged her being dressed to the nines.
Yeah.
And I just was amused at all of it.
I like that.
Okay.
Would you like to go out dancing some night, Tootsie?
Where are you going?
Hold on. I just heard Walter Winchell say the war is over. Let's go kick up our heels.
I hope that's the way that they hit on each other. The war is over.
The war is over. Let me get you a lobster thermidor. We'll have a good time.
Oh, man. I feel like I'm in an episode of like a Captain America TV show. This is wonderful.
Oh, man. I wish there was I wish Falcon and the Winter Soldier was coming back. Just as off topic as we can. You didn't like it? All right.
It was okay. It wasn't bad. I think some of them were worse of the Marvel TV shows. But I don't know. I'm kind of glad that it'll just be a movie.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, nice.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We will see. Your name came up in conversation. I was having casual conversations.
You told me. Yes, you told me on my radio show, but you wouldn't tell me anything more.
Right. Well, listen, I'm not going to give it away on your show. That people aren't going to come here.
Well, here we are, 45 minutes in.
Well, we've talked. Listen, this has been an eventful 45 minutes.
I didn't ask. Yeah, no.
Cindy's saying you guys are too funny tonight. See, it's not like we've been killing time, and I'm hoping, man, I'm going to save it with this story about Craig's name coming up in conversation.
By the way, I wish what Mike said was accurate, by the way. If at the end of like working out at the Planet Fitness, they just hosed you down outside, that would be great. That would be the Spirit Airlines to the T then.
Yeah. Now, what's their slogan? It's the no judgment zone.
Our judgment-free zone.
Judgment-free zone. And yet you were judging that woman's hips. I hope nobody from your gym is listening.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope not.
You judge them favorably, though.
Right. Well, I was judging.
I
was judging the necessity of the activity as much as the hips themselves.
Right. The hips didn't lie.
No, they did not.
Why was Shakira at your gym? Why is she working out in Peoria? That doesn't make any sense.
That would be awesome.
Would Betty let you look if Shakira was working out?
Yes, but actually for a totally different reason, I probably wouldn't. Betty loves Shakira, has been telling me for weeks about Shakira breaking up with some guy or some guy cheated on her. I don't know, something. So
Shakira
Betty would
doesn't
probably
pay her taxes.
That happened too. She's in trouble in Spain, right, for that. But no, Shakira was ruined for me because my sister got really into the music and would listen to it and like dance in our home in high school. and I would go to school and my friends would be like, man, you see that Shakira video? It's so awesome. And I'd be like, it's not awesome. And I'd prefer not to talk about it to anybody involved.
If you think it's awesome, come watch my sister dance to it.
I would not have offered that to my friends in high school, but yeah, no,
what kind of dance was your sister doing? A lambada?
She's doing the Shakira dance.
Oh,
my sister, it got ruined for me, man.
That's unfortunate.
I know. I hate that I still think of it now. This is
I do
sad.
too, but I enjoyed the story.
All right, you're welcome. So what do
Sandy,
people say about me?
Sandy, very happy that we are working together.
Hi, Sandy.
So Saturday I went to a Christmas party, which you know me, I don't like social events. I don't like to go out. I really don't. But this one, Debbie and I actually look forward to every year. It's Dave Plyer, who still works at the place that we used to work, but I don't hold that against him. He has this one.
I don't even know anybody at that place anymore. I know like nobody.
Some people still know you.
Okay. That's interesting. I mean, I know Plyer. That's a guy I know.
Right. Well, it was his party. And it's always a lovely party because Dave, it's like for family and friends and business associates, and it's catered. The food is always top of the line, delicious, stuff. And the bar, first of all, Dave collects all sorts of TV memorabilia.
Wow.
So his house is just jam-packed with crazy, cool memorabilia stuff.
Nice.
And downstairs where he has the bar, he also has a home theater. And during the Christmas season, the movie posters are changed to Christmas movie posters. And then there's a cigarette machine that vends out. Remember those candy cigarettes we used to have when we were kids?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The whole cigarette machine is full of candy cigarettes. And he's got a big bowl of quarters on top. So you can get yourself some candy cigarettes. Then there's a jukebox and all kinds. But anyway, and the bar is always stocked. They have a couple of signature cocktails every year for the party, and then beer and soda, anything you could imagine. So it's a great time. usually, like Roger's usually there and Cody's been there. This year, they weren't going to be there. And at the last minute, Debbie got sick. And and I'm like, oh no. Because Molly was talking to her, and I heard she must have asked Debbie if she was getting ready for the party. Debbie said, no, I'm not going. I don't feel good. And Molly must have said, is Dad mad at you because you're not going? And I'm like, wow, first of all, I must be a tool. But then thankfully Debbie went, no, he's just disappointed that I can't go because I'm not feeling good. And that was the truth. I wasn't mad at her. I think your daughter probably knows that you don't like going to stuff. Oh yeah, she knows. Right. It's painfully obvious to everybody in the family. Right. Maybe that's where it came from. Could be mad. Yeah. And also I know how much Debbie likes this party. She even though, she enjoys going. And one of the reasons she enjoys going is Dean Richards is always there, and his friend George, who plays Bozo, is always there. And George could not be sweet. George is the nicest guy on the planet. Dean is always very nice too. I'm not slighting Dean.
Dean is a certain level of nice, but George,
George, listen, George is very friendly, in the best possible way. And it's weird because there's a number of people who come to this party who are, and they're being very nice. I will preface it but they all want to bring up the fact that I'm no longer at the other place. And how sad it is that I'm not at the other place, and how they can't believe I'm not at the other place, and how much they enjoyed me at the other place, and they hope someday people get smart and bring me back to the other place. Okay. And I always go, and it used to bother me. Now I don't give a anymore because they screwed up, not me. I didn't do anything, and I don't know why I'm not there. Nobody had the balls to tell me why I wasn't there anymore, or to actually tell me. They were like, "Oh no, you're still part of the team. You'll be here." So, wow, that's as much as I've ever said about that, really.
Maybe you'll get a fill-in shift sometime in the near future, man. Maybe right after this.
Nope. I heard somebody and I didn't realize somebody in power has a problem with me.
What?
That was my reaction too. I'm like, what? I was talking to somebody about something else, and they said, no, that person likes you, but somebody, and they told me who it was, has a problem. And I'm like, how can that be? And they're like, we don't know. We don't know either.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, hold on. I want to, because you're eventually going to say how I came up and all this. And that's really what I care about. No, I'm kidding.
I understand. That's why I'm making you wait.
No, I'm kidding.
I want you to check out.
How do you react to the moment? Because I feel like I've had this in my career too at times. And it's not even just, although radio is a unique industry where this probably happens a lot, but it's probably not just our industry, where you haven't even thought of a person for a good amount of time. Yep. And then it gets referenced that this person still thinks about or maybe even talks about you. And I wonder how you react to it, because my reaction always like, what? Like, why do they even have a feeling still? Yeah. Because not that you ever really knew what could have been the problem in the first place. Right. But the fact that it's been a while now, you would think that whatever that problem was would go away. And it doesn't seem to.
Yeah, I don't know. And it goes to the other part, seeing people that you would really rather never see again.
Okay, I like that part too. That's fine.
Let's just say there's a couple people I could do with never seeing again. Sure. I don't know what Roger's saying. Roger gave me an eye roll and a smirky emoji saying so polite.
He did, yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
I know.
That doesn't seem like a genuine so polite. That
seems
like
it's very sarcastic.
Right.
At which point I would say, I don't care. Yes, I don't know. I was looking forward to seeing you there, Roger. Normally you're there. But anyway, so there were people. I got to see Karen Conti and her husband Jerry, who I used to work with, and nice. Steph, who used to be our boss, was there with her husband Eric.
She's a boss at another place now.
She's a boss at another place. She's not the one who had the problem with me, by the by.
Yeah, good.
All right, that's good. Take that off the table.
I don't think she has a problem with a lot of people. I feel like she's one of those people that has a problem with few people.
Oh, all right. Yeah, right? I don't know. Yeah, she's very friendly. Everybody seems to love her. Somebody said, I saw Violetta Poddramatic, who is now on the Mixed Morning Show, and Jeff and Tracy Hoover from WGN TV, and Dean and George, and a lot of people that I hadn't seen. Ben, who was just a producer, now it handles all the audio content for the old place.
That's not a guy I know. That's not even a name I know anymore.
And
I thought you were going to say Ben Cortez, the old engineer guy.
No, but you're in the right ballpark.
All right.
One of the engineers that we used to work with. So Ben says to me, I got there. Now the party started at 7. What do you think is a good time to arrive at a party that starts at 7?
I've been wrong about this because I like to show up a little bit after 7, but I'd say 7:45 is a good time, especially if it's going to go for a while, right? This is a long party.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it depends on who you are. For me alone, yeah, it's going to be a long party.
All right. Then 8:15 even, I think, would be okay.
I showed up at 7:30, which I thought was a good time.
All right.
Party's been going. It was pretty much, it was well underway when I arrived, but not too late. You know, gotcha. I pop in, there's still people coming up after me.
All right.
But at about 10:30 or 11, I was getting ready to leave because Debbie wasn't there. Now I was having a good time, despite my best efforts.
Right.
I was talking to people. I was having some cocktails. I had enjoyed some brie and beef tenderloin meatballs. It was great.
Oh, that sounds great.
Oh, the food is always great.
That sounds amazing. Yeah. I've never been invited.
Hot food, cold food. Well, listen.
Thanks, David.
Play your cards right. That's not going to help you.
No, it's not. No, it's probably not. Nope.
But it's always fun. And his daughter and her friend, man, a coat check. It's very professional. Oh yeah. Wow. So they come in, they give you a little ticket, just like at a at a restaurant. So you have know where your coat is.
Wow.
And then you go on about your business. It's lovely.
That's much nicer than the way. That's much nicer than the way I throw a party.
That's my parties, we pile all the coats on a bed.
Right. Yeah.
And then whoever came first has to pull their coat out from under the mountain of coats.
Yeah. Good luck to you. There's the coat room. Go in there. Figure it out.
Try to find it. And please don't spill the contents of everyone's pockets. Find mints and keys and condoms on the floor the next morning. What the hell happened here?
Wow.
I don't know who's coming to my party with pockets full of condoms.
Honestly, I don't know. That's something else.
That's the party I don't invite you and Betty to. I know that.
Yeah, they were thinking of a very different kind of event.
So about 11 o'clock, I'm ready to go. It's been 3.5 hours. I've enjoyed myself. And Ben says, "Oh, hang on. Fergie's coming after he gets off work."
I love Bob Ferguson. That guy's great.
Yeah. I do too. And I hadn't seen Bob in a long time. So I was like, oh, and it wasn't like they were like anybody had to twist my arm because I'm like, Debbie's already in bed. I'm going to go home and sit in the dark, so I'm going to stay. So
it's going to make people mad to say it. Ferguson is by far the best engineer at that radio station when I was there. Ran the board for a bunch of things I was part of. Fergie's great. He actually even did music mixing when we had live bands in concert for things with his own equipment. Fergie's incredible. Geez.
Yeah,
I know.
I like Bob. He's wild, and he's been at this party before, and we've closed it down a few years.
Nice.
So I waited, and Bob came in, and big hugs, and we're all talking, and then we're downstairs, and he was asking me about things I was doing, and I was talking about Milwaukee, and I talked about how you helped me set up my stuff and had told me about Clean Feed, and I talked to them, and he's like, "Oh, that Craig, I like that guy. he used to have his own. Is he still doing? The studio stuff, because he had a place that he was down here that was a studio.
Fergie, he came and saw it. Yes.
Yeah. And he was very complimentary. He goes, that guy's not afraid to, he spent the money, he did the work, he made a thing. That guy knows how to hustle. He goes, you should hook up with him. And I said, well, oddly enough, I'm on his show every week, and he's going to be filling in for Cody. And at one time we were talking about doing a show together. We were. I don't know what happened to that.
We've buried that deep inside, in here.
Only one person has buried it. But anyway, that's so everything.
Cody buried it? How dare Cody do that?
Everything that was said about you was very positive, and I didn't do anything to dismiss his wild alcohol fueled thoughts about you. He was, and I said, no, wow. Craig's doing afternoons now in Peoria, and he fills in for Chad Benson, and he fills in Indy, and he does all this stuff. And, he's got I talked about your setup in your basement and all of that. Yeah. I give you,
thank you,
man,
sir.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, sir. That's very nice. Yeah. I'm glad you got to bump into Bob Ferguson. That guy's a great guy.
Yes. Because then Patty came in. She had a whole lot of different stuff to say about it. No, that's not true.
I plead the fifth. I have nothing to say. I don't care. I have nothing to say.
I know. That was just a joke just for that was just an inside baseball joke. Yeah. And whoever else might
else could get it. Somebody might get it. Yeah.
So
I'm good.
the party, now it's getting later and later, and I'm about to go. And I'm in the basement with Fergie, and all of a sudden, a guest, falls down the stairs and smacks his head on the granite floor.
Oh, no.
Yes. And I had just been talking to a young woman who's studying nursing.
Okay.
And Bob and I were asking her questions, and she was talking about how she was in critical care and blah, blah, blah. Thank God, because this guy was out.
Wow.
And so we're only about 8 feet from him when he falls. She's on it. She jumps into action, and she's trying to wake this guy up. And then another woman kneels down, who it turns out is a cop, and another woman jumped in, and they're working on this guy. And I'm like, somebody's got to call 911. And I pull out my phone, and another guy already had his out, and he was dying. He goes, I've got it. I said, okay, you good? Well, I look up, and except for Bob, the basement is now empty. I don't know where everybody went.
They ran.
I guess they were like, oh, somebody's injured. It's like it's like in the A Christmas Story, where a kid where Flick sticks his tongue to the pole, and everybody else just leaves him there.
They take off. Yes.
Yeah. Everybody took off out of the basement, and Fergie and I are kind of just standing there watching these women work on this guy. And finally, the paramedics came. I don't know. It seemed to take a while for the paramedics to show up.
Wow.
This is CFD.
He's okay.
Too.
Is the guy okay?
I believe so.
Okay.
You know,
good.
I had seen him at the party. I didn't know exactly who he was. He was bleeding a little, Roger. But yeah, I don't know. I'm guessing he's okay. You know, Dave hasn't put out some missive that the party will never be held again because there was a fatality.
Yeah.
So I don't know who the guy was, but man,
you know, that's interesting too, actually, because not that it's the same thing. When I was a little kid, I broke my arm and everybody ran away from me, but we were all children. For adults to still behave like kids is good to know. It's good to know that most people just ran upstairs at the sign of violence.
But I will say the two women who were heavily trained in this were on it in a second.
That's awesome.
And I'm thinking, man, this guy's lucky that these women were here.
Yes. Yeah.
And that they had their S together, and that they, because, who knows? Earlier in the night, they might have been all hammered.
Right.
But no, they were not.
Honestly, everybody going to nursing school isn't going to become a nurse. They're probably not all great at it. So I'm glad we got a good student.
And this woman, she's graduating in just a couple of weeks, so she's almost done. And she's been working in critical care. And I'm like, oh, well, this is pretty critical. And
every part of this is important.
Well, and she's given the cognitive test to this guy.
Wow.
So that when the paramedics come, she's able to rattle off, I give him this cognitive test and blah, blah, blah. And he's got a contusion here and this and that.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, medical talk. It's like I'm on ER. This is great. So Bob's freaked out. And that was it. That was the end. It was like, all right, I got to go. I got to get out of here. I got to skedaddle. Because I didn't get home till after 2.
Wow, Noonan. That's a late night for Brian Noonan, I feel like.
It is. I've only done that one because normally when Debbie's at the party with me, and you know this, having your bride there at places, you stay a nice amount of time and then you go.
Yes.
There were other people who left quick because a lot of people like to tell you how many parties they have to go to in a night. There were at least 4 or 5 couples that I was talking to that we got to go. We've got like 3 other.
We got 4 more parties to do.
I'm like, you know where I have to go? Downstairs for another old fashioned. So you're popular and I'm drinking. Bye.
Yeah.
See you later.
Yeah. I would just go with them. If they're like, we got to go to another party. All right, cool. Let's go. We're all going together.
Can I come? That'd be great. I
just get in the back of their car. Don't even ask. Just follow them out and get in the car. Just sit there.
Brian, what are you doing? I only had one party to go to, and I'm raring to go.
I'm excited that there's another party tonight.
Fun. Yeah.
Great.
Who are the people that are throwing this party?
Yeah, I didn't know we were party hopping. Yeah.
No, Rogers, that's not who I'm talking about.
Right.
Stephanie did have to go to a lot
Roger's
of parties.
trying to out people.
Yeah, Roger, you weren't there. Don't cause trouble. Don't come in here stirring the pot, dropping names. Nobody needs to
Was that one guy bleeding? And was it Stephanie that was saying she had other parties to go to?
No.
Oh, yeah, that's Stephanie.
No, Stephanie was one person who said she had more parties to go to, but she was not. She was by far not the only one. A lot of people are very popular.
They got to stop throwing the parties on the same day, man. You got to have different party days.
I will say this for Plyer. He sends out his save the date early.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't know. I've never gotten it. Never been invited.
Listen,
I have no idea.
All I'm saying is you lock that in early.
Gotcha.
It's nice.
Good to know.
So yeah, so that was the big thing, and that's how
you're.
So people still remember you from back in the day.
Yeah, one guy. Yes.
Well, there weren't too many. There were. I'm sure Stephanie remembers you, but we didn't. We weren't talking old school radio with.
That
with
didn't need to come up. Yeah. No. I've actually talked to a couple people that I guess I still kind of know there, and they say names, and I don't know any of the names anymore. It's amazing how quickly people turn over in radio for one reason or another. Like not even just the people you hear on the station, for whoever's a fan of any of those stations. Like a lot of people behind the scenes change. A lot. Yeah.
So it was nice to see the people that I saw. Dave Schwann was there, who I always love talking to.
Sure.
Bill Leff and his wife Terry were there.
Bill Leff knows who I am. That's good.
Yes. Yeah. So there's people who would still know who you are.
There
but we all agreed that there have been a lot of changes at the old place.
Yeah, there are.
To the point where people aren't even coming in to do their shows.
What are you talking about?
Well, there's a lot of remotes. Let's just say that. A lot of remote broadcasting. That's a big change. But
that's the industry as a whole.
Roger, you want to name anybody who's staying home to do their shows? You want to drop those names in the chat right now for everybody? Roger,
who else do you want to break bad against? Who's the person you liked least when you were working at WGN, Roger?
Hurry, Roger, bus is coming. Get ready to throw somebody under it quickly.
Even if it's Noonan, let's make it Noonan. Go ahead.
Yeah, why
Go
not?
nuts.
Listen. Go ahead, make it me. Quickly, I went to the theater the other night. Yes, it's always exciting when Broadway in Chicago invites me to a performance. Cody used to go as well when he lived in the city. Now that he's got a newborn and a toddler, he doesn't get to go out much anymore unless it's some weird Dungeons and Dragons cosplay extravaganza that he wants to go to.
Can you put on a bow tie for the rest of this review?
No, but I'll
spruce
up the collar. I'll pop the collar a little bit. Right. Yes, it's time for Bowtie Theater Review. This is Dear Evan Hansen. Have you heard of this play, Craig?
No.
Are you a theater lover at all?
At all, yes, but not currently aware of a lot of the things that are happening.
What was the last play that you enjoyed?
The last play that I went to was not one that I enjoyed. That was Mamma Mia. The last play that I enjoyed was probably Wicked, but it's been a while.
Okay. One, I agree with you 300% on Mamma Mia.
Or wait, actually, I lied. I was at Hamilton. Okay. I went to go see Hamilton with Andrea Darlis.
How'd you like that?
I loved that. Wayne Brady was in it.
Yes, that was very good. You went with Andrea Darlis.
Yes, we did it for that station. We both went.
Very nice.
She did like some interviews, and I sat there, I recorded it, and then I brought it back to the station and edited it. That's what I did.
Well, you got to see the show.
The whole thing.
That's great.
Yeah.
Mamma Mia sucks.
Yeah, it does. It's bad. It's not good. It's bad.
We saw it in Vegas, and I only went because Debbie wanted to see it, and I'm, a good and faithful husband, and I wanted to sue everybody for stealing 90 minutes of my life.
Here we go again.
The best part of it was at the end when they just sang some ABBA songs, because the rest of it was like, this is the most ludicrous.
This is dumb. Yeah.
Yes, it was dumb.
Right.
Dumb. And like, I came home one night and Molly and Debbie were watching it on TV, and I wanted to kick in the screen like Elvis.
Oh, the movie's terrible. The movie's as bad, if not worse, than the thing you see in the theater.
And they've watched the sequel too. I'm like,
that's not right.
What is with you people?
Why is there even a sequel to that? What could they need to explore still?
Why do we need to know about some slut who is banging every guy doesn't know who the father is? Really? This poor kid doesn't know who her father is because her mom, was a human trampoline. I don't need to get involved with that. This is not Dear Evan Hansen, by the way. I'm going to restart that review in a moment.
I've seen Maury. I don't need to see it as like a play with ABBA songs.
Right. And they just crammed the, ABBA's fine, but you can't just try to create narrative out of one song. You gotta you have to have a story and then put songs in it.
Sure.
It'd be like if Leonard Skinner did a Freebird musical. And it was all about some crazy bird watcher.
I would go to that. That sounds sweet. That sounds totally different.
We'll start working on the book for that one.
If the whole plan at the end was somehow to free the bird, oh man, I'm so in.
And then there's Cats, which Cody and I disagree on vehemently because he loves Cats. He thinks Cats is just the greatest thing to ever hit the stage. And I want to drown everybody in that production in a barrel of kitty litter.
I've never seen it. I would say that back when it was like the thing to do in New York, it sounds like it probably would have been cool. But it's since been over everything, and especially that movie. Did you see any part of that movie?
No.
Oh my God, that was a bad movie. That
Did
was
you see the
so
butthole
terrible.
version or the non-butthole version?
I didn't get a butthole. I didn't notice any buttholes. So
you saw the cleaned up version.
Or I was doing this again the whole time.
I can't look. Betty's watching. What if I look at an animatronic cat butthole?
Yeah,
this is not going to go well.
If Taylor Swift is up there with a butthole, I got to look away. I got to get very confused.
The Swifties.
I'm a bit of a Swiftie.
Are you a bit of a Swiftie? Yeah. I'm not anti-Swiftie.
Right.
I'm, if something of hers comes on, it's fine.
It's pretty good. Right.
There's some catchy stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't own the CDs. I don't have them, or I don't download the whatever it is now. But I do like it when I hear it. Usually,
I have a daughter that handles that for me. I don't need to. Plus, muddy up my Spotify.
I find Taylor Swift quite attractive, so there's that aspect too.
She has a swan-like gangliness to her.
that wasn't a compliment at all.
Yeah,
I would be attracted to gangliness.
Well, she's very tall.
She is,
and a little gangly.
A little gangly, a little bit.
Yeah, she's not. No, she's not.
Did you see her in the Victoria's Secret fashion show though? She blended in.
What? Hello? No, I did not.
She performed at that before they stopped doing that. You got to do a bow tie review. We've gotten very off track.
Yeah, I just want to say I know she was drunk in New Orleans this weekend.
I didn't know that.
According to all the news sources.
All right, let me look that up while you do your thing.
Yeah, all right. So, Dear Evan Hansen is back. I was fortunate enough to see it in 1999. Then it was supposed to come back earlier, but COVID hit, as you know. Mm-hmm. And so Dear Evan Hansen is back in Chicago at the Nederlander Theater on Randolph Street until December 31st. If you don't know the story, it's basically about a teenage boy, Evan Hansen. And he takes credit for being the best friend of another high school student who kills himself.
Whoa.
And if you are a parent, or if you know anybody who suffers from anxiety or depression, this is a very rough production. The songs are great. The cast is great. The subject matter at times can be very funny, but then very heavy.
Sure.
And the first and a lot of it also delves into social media and people wanting to belong in online communities, even though they have absolutely zero connection to what actually happened. And so suddenly Evan has to enlist a friend who may or may not really be a friend to help falsify some things. And a girl who is also feeling very isolated and lonely gloms on, and they create this Connor project to pay homage to this kid. And it's all about how people don't deserve to feel alone and forgotten, and no one should be forgotten. And the first act ends with the signature song of the show, You Will Be Found. The second act then has to reconcile all the stuff that happened in the first act. And it ends on a hopeful note. I won't spoil anything, but it does end. You don't walk out of the theater going, oh my God, I'm going to walk in front of a bus. No, but it's phenomenal. And Anthony Norman is on this national tour is playing Evan Hansen. And it wasn't until about midway through the second act, I was like, this guy looks like Tom Holland. He does. He bears a little bit of a resemblance to Spider-Man, which is neither good nor bad, depending on how you feel about Spider-Man.
Sure.
He embodies this part perfectly. You almost feel like the anxiety that he is portraying is really him. His physicality when he's in some of the scenes is heartbreaking. And he's from Chicago. So that was nice. It's a very small cast, only 8 people in the cast, and they all do a wonderful job. There's Evan and his mom, 2 friends. There's Connor, the boy who kills himself, his sister, and his parents. And it is, it's joyful at times, like I said. It's really painful at other times. You can see the pain in the kids. And if you've been a teenager who felt that way, it's going to really affect you. If you're a parent of a teenager, You see the angst that the parents are going through, and it's portrayed wonderfully by everybody in the cast. You're gonna feel that way too, and it is definitely worth it. This is a production that has been going on for a long time. Ben Platt originated the part on Broadway. This is a new national tour, and it is just wonderful. So if you have a chance, I would urge you to go to BroadwayInChicago.com and get yourself some tickets. It's only here until New Year's Eve. So if you get a chance, go see it. Dear Evan Hansen at the Nederlander Theater on Randolph, BroadwayInChicago.com for your tickets. It is it's really good. Debbie, when I got the invitation, I said to Debbie, do you want to go see it again? She was like, I don't know. It was kind of heavy. I've seen it.
Yeah.
So I took Molly, and Molly had heard about it, and she loved it. She was like, oh my God. And she was like, did you cry? And I said, well, I cried the first time I saw it a couple times. This time I did get choked up a little bit at probably the same times that I cried the first time.
Is it during the song "You Will Be Found"? Since you name dropped that one.
No,
okay.
That's just I name dropped that one because that's like the hashtag for the show. Oh, don't play that because we're gonna get bounced off.
No, okay,
no, we can't. This is not radio.
There's a tiny tease. Tiny taste.
Bounce us off.
All right.
But there's some other songs. She told me there's a song that Evan's mom does near the end, and Molly said that's the one she cried at.
Gotcha.
So Big, So Small, and so that one got Molly. And just the end, the whole thing's terrific. I'm so glad I got to see it again.
Mm-hmm.
So, but all right, so that gets out of 5 bow ties, bam, all the bow ties, all 5. Go see Dear Evan Hansen.
Wow.
Go to BroadwayInChicago.com. Get your tickets.
Yes, and they're all properly tied. They're not. None of them are like
there's no Rat Pack hanging bow tie.
There's no disheveled bow tie.
Popped, perfect. Let me ask you this.
Yeah. By the way, actually, I have seen a Broadway show more recently, and it was just in Chicago. I don't know if you saw it.
What one?
It's called Come From Away.
I saw Come From Away. It
just came through Peoria about a month ago, and I saw it at the Peoria Civic Center theater, and it was great. That was a great show.
It was and the fact that it was a true story.
Right.
Was amazing.
And as you said, there's only a few characters, and they play multiple roles, and they do it very well, at least our show.
Yeah. No, I think we probably saw the same national tour.
Nice.
That you guys saw.
How many bow ties did that one get?
I think that might have gotten 4 bow ties.
Okay, good. All right, good. Good to know.
There have only been a couple that have not gotten at least 3 bow ties.
Yeah.
And I don't remember them offhand. Let me ask you this, since you were just at the theater.
Yes.
At what age should you stop bringing snacks into live theater?
Into live theater?
Yes, like it Come From Away. Would you have come in with lots of snacks?
Like snacks hold on. I need clarification. Are you talking about snacks that I would buy at the venue or things that I'm sneaking in from outside?
It could be either one.
Okay, because sneaking in from outside, I would not do in the theater.
All right, let's say that you. All right,
I still may do that at the movie theater occasionally. It still might happen.
Oh, but you won't do it at the live
theater? At the theater, no. You can't. Yeah, you can't sneak stuff in. That feels inappropriate.
Would you buy a lot in the lobby and then come in?
I've never bought a lot of snacks in a lobby of anything, but I've never not done it because I thought it would be inappropriate to have the snacks in the vent. You know what I mean? Like but I probably would get like a popcorn and feel okay about it at a theater. I don't think I think that'd be okay. They serve it for a reason. It's on sale. It's there. Maybe a glass of wine. I've done that at some plays and stuff before, but I think I'm still
a glass of wine, or a lot of people bring in a glass of champagne from that to me is fine.
Right. Snacks, I think snacks are okay. Go ahead.
Oh boy, I am that. See, here's the thing. Yes, they sell them in the lobby. You know why? Because people are dopes, and everybody thinks they're going to see Top Gun, and they forget that in Top Gun, Tom Cruise can't hear you munching away.
Yeah.
Where in the theater,
right?
People can hear you.
Well, I'm going to say a Brian Noonan thing. I'm going to get a little peckish at some point, right? I'm going to need a little sustenance.
Here's what I like to do. I like to eat before I go to the theater. And then this might surprise people based on my size, I can make it 2 hours without eating.
That doesn't surprise me at all, sir.
I can go. I can go up to 3-4 hours without eating.
5, 6 even.
No, I can't go that long without peeing. So I hope for a nice long intermission. But the eating is fine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they should be selling those kind of things. Here's why.
Yeah, okay.
Molly and I, we had, and I'm not saying this is a brag. I'm saying it is because sometimes for all the moaning I do about stuff, I forget how fortunate I am with certain things. And
all right,
being invited to Broadway and Chicago stuff, very fortunate.
That's fortunate.
And Molly told Debbie the next day, she goes, I couldn't believe our seats.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
Third row. Anyway,
wow, look at you.
I know. And I don't trust me. I don't take it for granted. It's amazing.
It is now making you slap popcorns out of people's hands, though.
Well, almost. So we're off the aisle. Molly's the third seat. I'm the fourth seat. The fifth and sixth seat. Right before the light goes out, these two very attractive women in maybe their late 20s, early 30s come in.
Sure.
They may have had something to drink prior to the performance.
They might have.
But they brought in champagne, so that was fine. And they sit down, and that's fine. Then they start unpacking their purses. And I wish I were exaggerating. They took out Skittles, peanut M&Ms, pretzels, and some other sort of candy.
Sure.
And during the performance, they spilled the Skittles.
Yep.
They dropped the pretzels.
Wow.
They were chomping on the peanut M&Ms. And then the one right next to me was also texting. And again, now we're in the cast can see us. I've been on stage. You can see the third row.
All right.
And I'm trying not to let it bother me because I'm engulfed in the performance. Had it been a weaker show, I would have been losing my mind. But thankfully, what was on stage was holding my attention.
I got to be honest. I know why this happened. And it has nothing to do with being comfortable with snacks in theaters. That's not the issue. Because what you described is extreme. That's not the way I would snack in a theater. I would be very quiet about it. I'd be very timid about it.
Okay.
I probably wouldn't enjoy snacking a whole lot, especially at like the low moments in a play or a musical. You gotta button up. You can't snack hard. You gotta wait for the big crashing number to get a lot of the food, I think, in your face.
Or intermission, maybe?
Maybe intermission. But I think what happened here is a thing that I used to talk about before with one of my former producers on my show. It's the hot person thing, where they never get told stuff as adults the way that not hot people get told stuff. So they just didn't get corrected, and they just keep living life with these little mistakes that they make. Because as a hot person, you get more passes in life, I think. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be a jerk about it.
No,
I think Tina Fey has that episode of 30 Rock all about the good-looking person rules. I think this is some of them. Spilling a Skittles halfway through a show sounds like something that either somebody does and knows that they're embarrassed, or they're a hot person and doesn't know they should be.
And then they make big announcements. Turn your phones off. And you're texting. I know when you're a hot person.
They don't listen.
She can do what she wants. The rules don't apply to her.
No,
when
they
intermission came and the lights came up, it looked like I was sitting next to a toddler. There was food all over the floor.
Hold on. I'm not saying that people shouldn't correct them. I think we should correct the hot people so they know to not do the hot people rule things. But you know that there's some guy in her life that doesn't do this at all, that just tolerates these things and just ignores them.
And she's not going to listen to the cranky old man sitting next to her.
Doesn't care about that guy.
Right. Put away your food. Nope. At one point, I wanted to just put my hand over and go, give me some M&Ms. But but I did not.
Yeah, that'd been great.
So this is just, and then somebody behind us was, I don't know what they were unwrapping. I don't know if it was a rotisserie chicken. I don't know if it was a shrink wrapped ham.
Maybe they did some Christmas gifts halfway through the show.
Maybe there was a lot of unwrapping. And I'm like, when did we become a society that can't sit for 2 hours? There's an intermission.
Hold on, though, man. I'm gotta when did you become this guy a little bit too, though? You have a very high standard now
at the theater. I've always had that at the theater. I said, to me, live theater is different than the movies. I'll eat popcorn at the movies. I love it.
Right.
I might have an M&M at the movies.
Once you started doing the bow tie movie reviews,
no. This was before.
The third row.
No, this was prior.
You're talking about Nosebleed Noonan cared about the popcorn?
Yes. Anytime I was, because I've done live theater. I've done performances. Right. And I know.
I take it back.
So I've always been amazed that they sell treats at the live theater. I don't know why.
I gotta make money.
Can't explain it. I know. Please, have you paid for the tickets? Tickets to these things are not cheap. People are making money. There's money.
Yeah, there's money.
Money's being made.
That's sure.
You know,
No,
it's,
I am
$18
applying.
Skittles is not going to put them over the edge.
I'm applying the nosebleed rules because I feel like once you're in the nosebleed section, which is where I typically am, that we're allowed to do what we want. We're barely at the thing at some of these stuff. Like
that's like the groundlings. I'm wiping my greasy hands in somebody else's hair. Doesn't matter.
I basically didn't go to the show with some of the seats I'm in. So does it matter that I have a popcorn at that point? No.
When we saw Hamilton, we were way up in the back.
Mm-hmm.
My rule still applied. And
Wow.
Debbie and Molly know my rule. So they do not snack during the performances.
I gotcha.
We are a family that pays attention to live theater. We are
you
patrons
said you've been
of
on
the
that
art.
Stage before. Was that a humble brag or did you perform something there?
No, not at that stage. I've just been on stage.
Oh, okay.
And, no, that was not a humble brag. It was just like
you were saying you were on that stage. You're like, I've been in Broadway in Chicago before.
Oh my God. You think I'd be here if I was doing Broadway in Chicago productions?
I didn't know, man. I was so grateful. Yeah.
No, I have not. But I don't know why. It seems there's more at stake. And
people don't care.
People don't care
about anything anymore. But we really don't care about anything. I don't want to rant on society that much. It's probably not good for the old show. But there's a lot of things that people seem to just not care. Actually, this was another thing that happened at my gym that I was so fascinated about. There was a very attractive young lady just taking photos and videos and like doing the fish faces and everything to herself in the camera the whole time. Didn't care that she was in public at a machine, people trying to use it. Like she was doing her social media. And I think that's a thing. I think we're all locked in our own little worlds a little more now. And so we live a lot differently than say people did before.
Yeah.
You don't have to agree. I think
I do agree. I do agree. I think people do whatever they want. They think, like I said, like with the hot person rule, the rules don't apply to me.
Right.
And I'm going to be, because every gym says don't be taking pictures in here.
Right. Well, but I think there's almost a thing, depending on who you are and maybe how much you care about, say, social media or something, where like to some people, the real world is the online one and the fake world is the one because I saw the behind the scenes of her social media posts, which didn't seem to matter to her because that wasn't the real world. The only thing that was going to matter was what she put up on the Instagram. And so it's funny to watch someone do that live in front of you and a group of strangers and not give a crap about all the people seeing her there.
Oh, well, Snacky who was sitting next to me, she was posing before the show and during intermission. She had to get certain angles, and her friend was leaning back over the seat so she could get certain angles of her.
It's almost like real life is the thing that they're curating online and not the thing they're living.
Well, the real life they're curating is the one they want to have. I'm betting Snacky went home, had a glass of Chablis and cried with her cat.
Wow. And I'm not trying to crap on just women, by the way. I hope no one hears it that way.
Oh, no, dude. There's a lot of dudes. A lot of dudes.
Yeah. The prankster dude.
Which dudes?
The prank. Have you encountered a prankster dude? A guy who thinks he's going to be funny on social media, being like a prankster guy?
No, thank God.
They exist now. They'll like walk up and do stupid stuff. I don't want to say exactly how I know about one person in our general area because anyway, it's not because they pranked me, but there's a person who's very proud of their social media following, and they got like a few thousand, and all they do is like go into public and try to like trick people in sometimes really dumb ways. Like, and the only reason that I think anyone laughs it off is because you point to an active camera. Because what's interesting to me is on those prankster videos, when you eventually tell the person you're pranking them, you immediately let them know that they're being filmed. So it's not like they're going to go crazy on you in that moment. They're going to look and be like, oh, he got me. He's crazy. So, and
then you better make sure that camera rolls till you get far away from me. Because if you immediately turn it off, it's pummel time.
But that's another thing that I've been seeing more and more of is like younger people that want to go viral. And if you're a young man, one of the best ways to do it is to be like a jerk in public, kind of.
I give Billy Eichner all the blame for that.
That's true. He's one of the problems.
I don't know.
That's fine. Now you don't have to have a reaction. That's okay.
No, I do have the reaction is that's why I've been on looking at stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll post stuff for the show. Like I'll post about Dear Evan Hansen that I enjoyed it and a couple pictures of that. But there's a point where, and it just happened to me within the last few weeks where I go, this isn't really that important. There's nothing.
No.
I'll scroll through it. I'll read, I'll go on Twitter just to see who's yelling at Elon that day or, what's going on.
And we don't have to dive too much into that, but I will say this because I've been saying it a lot and I'd love your reaction to it, truth or not. And I think we've even talked about it on the radio show. I don't know why we can't go back to the old school rules of the internet where none of it mattered. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, why couldn't we all as a society take the step back? Who cares if somebody's making stuff up or lying or this or like, who cares? We need to stop getting all of our information from the 10 social media accounts we follow on our platform of choice and like go live a different place to learn things. Maybe someone go to the library, not that I've been in a while, but someone go there and not keep, complaining about accuracy on things that used to not matter. We were a better society when we did not care about social media platforms.
But we have become a lazy society, and it's easy to get my facts from 40 characters or 120 characters, whether it's real or not, because those 120 characters are going to reinforce what I already think, whether it's true or not. And I don't have to do any of my own. And then the people go, well, I did my research. Did you? What'd you look up? 3 articles that were written by guys that agree with me 100%.
Right. Well, even if
that's not really research.
Even if you do that on like not even social media, but if you go to Google and if your question is too specific, you're definitely going to get the answer you're looking for. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. If you want somebody to back you up, just go to the internet. There's a lot of people to back you up, and it doesn't matter. Right. I'm sure right now, if we go to Reddit, there's a subreddit on people who hate people eating snacks at live theater.
All right. I'm going to look that up for you. But no.
But there'll be somebody who backs me up,
I'm sure there will be. No, but it's just interesting.
But I don't want to know who they are because I don't know if I want to be associated with them. I want to think that I have a more highbrow attitude.
There's a bunch of questions, a bunch of things out there on the social media, out there on the Reddit. Please tell me the selling of loud snacks by theaters isn't the norm is one of the questions. Discussion is what that's called.
See?
Yeah, and then they told a story about how, and that's on some Broadway Reddit. It's just Broadway.
See?
So someone's very upset about that.
Somebody is upset, and it wasn't me. I didn't write about snacking.
A key part of the movie theater experience for you. That's from 7 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. That's the movie theater, though.
Movie theater is different because they can't hear you. I've said that before. All right, listen. Time is the tyrant. We must once again congratulate Cody and his lovely bride for the birth of their daughter. I must thank you for being here tonight. This is, as I mentioned at the beginning, the penultimate episode of the season because this is very important, and I'll post about it this week. Next week, if you want to watch us do this, we're doing it on Sunday rather than Monday. Why? Well, we'll explain that next week when you come and join us.
Nice.
And then, so we're going to record the Facebook part on Sunday. I'll let you know the time once Craig and I decide on it, and then we'll release the podcast as usual. But so a little change. I got to tell you, I had a good time tonight.
Me too. It's been fun.
It has been fun.
Yeah, I quit, by the way. So.
Already?
I took the whole show this time, man.
I
didn't quit till the end.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, you can hear Craig every afternoon except this week because he's on vacation. But every afternoon from 3 to 6 on WMBD. Go to WMBD.com. And then we'll have some plugs for you next week.
Yes.
Big plugs where people can hear you and all kinds of stuff.
I'm going to be on a lot of radio. Not next week, but the week after. So.
All right. So we will talk about it then.
Cool.
Anything else you want to leave us with?
No, I'm good. I feel good.
All right, good. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Tell your friends, follow, all that other blah, 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 blah. Have a great week. We will talk to you next week.
I quit.